Broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Ed Group from Global Healing Center. I hope you tune in and listen to Justin and Kate's Extreme Health Radio. It will transform your life, and you will get all the best health information you need.
Increase brain health and improve focus, memory, clarity, and mood with BioAge Superfood. Get 10% off your order using coupon code JUSTIN at extremehealthradio.com/BioAge. Well, Kate, I had 5 hours of sleep and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's surprising for you.
I know, right?
You are doing better and better off less and less sleep, though, I have to say. I'm pretty proud of you.
I should go breatharian, maybe.
You should go breatharian.
And just not eat any food. Maybe I'd need 2 hours of sleep or something.
Oh, gosh. If it ever got to that would be the miracle of all miracles.
5 hours of sleep? But no, it's a beautiful day here in Southern California, though, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Sunny, warm.
We're having probably the best summer in a few years right by the beach, because usually we get that overcast fog, marine layer thing, and so far so good.
That's right.
Very blessed.
Very, very blessed. So for reference, today is Monday. Wait, look at that. It's 7/7/2014.
Nice.
So it's July 7th, 2014, episode 277. So I wonder what's going on with the number 7 today.
Oh, yeah, that's true, huh?
Yeah.
Definitely something there.
277, 7/7/2014. And we've got Robert Mueller on the line. We're going to be talking to him in just a moment from barfworld.com, which is the company that supplies the amazing dog food that Maggie's been on. Maggie she just completed her little 90-day challenge, didn't she?
She completed it. She came full circle.
And she's going to give us a report on this episode.
Yes, she's right here to report herself. There's the tail wagging, and we have a little microphone.
Oh, that's going to be... Oh, Maggie. She's so cute. So I want to thank all you guys for joining us. We broadcast live 4 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you'd like to join the chat room and join the community and listen live and interact with everybody, you can do so at extremehealthradio.com/live, and you can interact with everybody on there. If you guys would like to support the show, all of our shows are free, and if you'd like to go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon before you go to Amazon.com to make your purchases, that would be a great way to support our work. We appreciate that so much. And what else to get to? Any other things to get to? I think it's showtime. We've got Robert Mueller on the show today, and he's with barfworld.com, and he was on episode 219 before.
That was a while ago, actually.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and he works with barfworld.com. So thank you so much, Robert, for being on the show today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a great day in Wisconsin.
Yeah, summertime. Is it nice and hot there for you?
Beautiful day.
Oh, good. How about the dogs? Are they enjoying it?
Absolutely. Better than 35 below.
Shoot, yeah, you think?
I know, right? Oh, hilarious.
Exactly.
Wow. So you're doing well, and you split your time. Is that right? You split your time from out there, and sometimes you're in California, too. Is that correct?
I'm all over, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Interesting.
That's actually probably kind of exhausting at times, I'm sure, huh?
Well, it goes with the territory.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sure.
So now Maggie just completed a 90-day challenge, which is pretty cool. And she was on your raw dog food for 90 days. And it was pretty fascinating because prior to her being on that food, she was actually on a pretty good diet. So we didn't see as big of a shift as we thought because she was already on a pretty good diet. But we did notice some things that I would like to talk about today, which I think are really, really, I think, big in terms of her diet, her energy levels, and things like that. But, it's just incredible.
It is incredible.
Well, it's something that we've noticed, the higher quality dry food that somebody feeds when they switch to a raw diet, you're not going to see as many amazing turnaround challenges. You're not going to see them go away. Mm-hmm. So, I'm quite interested to hear how the 90-day challenge went for you and discuss some of the things that you might see in the future.
Yeah, the 90-day challenge. So, Kate, she was on some sort of other kind of raw dog food, but we got her, I think she was 6 months old. Is that correct, Kate?
She was 6 months old when we got her, yeah. Five months.
5 months old, and she was already eating kibble and dry food and things like that.
Yeah,
right?
so when we initially changed her over, it was quite the big deal. We didn't quite ease her into it, as some people would probably suggest. We started just giving her the raw diet, and it worked her intestinal tract for a good week there. We felt really bad for her, but she got over that, and I think she was young enough and didn't have all those years of the unfortunate other diet behind her.
Right.
So yeah, she did pretty good on that diet. Well, we can talk about definitely the things that we've seen since we switched to the barf diet, which was cool. I feel like the biggest first thing that was very different from the regular raw diet was her earwax. I would clean out her ears on just the regular, raw food diet, probably once every couple weeks. This time, just to kind of, make the 90-day challenge something I was paying attention to, I checked them every 2 days, and there was considerably, noticeably less earwax. I don't know, Robert, if people say that a lot when they first go onto a raw diet from a standard diet. Do you hear that a lot?
It's one of the things that we see quite a bit, and it all tags into the allergy conditions that we see, the inflammation buildup that we deal with, the improvement of the immune system is really what turns it around.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I remember hearing David Wolf say one time that the body's number one reaction to food allergies is the production of earwax, which I thought was so strange. But I guess it might be similar to dogs as well. Do you think?
Absolutely. It all correlates the same. In fact, there's a lot of comparison studies I make human nutrition to animal nutrition, and it's quite comparable.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the production of earwax, so that's gone down quite a bit.
So I'm thinking it was with the 90-day challenge with the barf diet versus something else in the other raw diet. There's something different there that even though they were both raw, that she probably wasn't it wasn't simpatico with her little system to give her those allergies. So she was obviously doing a lot better on the 90-day challenge than she had prior. So we find that to be pretty interesting.
Well, there's a couple things that we've done that separates the two. In fact, everybody says that they can be on a raw diet, but there are differences, just like there's differences with dry food.
Sure.
The combination that I have suggested with the Barf Plus supplement to be used with the diet and with the omega oil, that's really the secret to making the 90 days work. And you have to understand that the 90-day challenge was instituted because we have a lot of people that switch to a raw diet and they don't give it enough time to let it work. And by that I mean a lot of these dogs that come to us are having problems after 5 or 6 years on feeding dry food.
Sure.
And the resultant problems that they have, they expect it to turn around in 30 days, and that just isn't enough time to make it happen. They go through the detox period in that amount of time. So I've encouraged people to stay on it for a minimum of 90 days to give it a chance to work.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of success having gone with that program rather than just a 30-day trial.
Yeah, I could see that. And it's interesting, too, because I imagine that had Maggie been eating a really, really poor diet, very, very poor before, it would have been really cool to see the transition, see that difference. Because like we said, I mean, she did eat a good amount of raw food before, but it would have been really cool to see that difference. I think that'd be really interesting to see.
This is the thing that makes me excited about this business. These are the turnarounds and the resultant good praise we get from a lot of our customers seeing the results of what happens when you put your dog on the raw diet.
Yes.
Well, it's amazing.
It's cool because even though she was eating a pretty good diet before, the noticeable differences we've seen is enough for us to be blown away at what we've noticed. And and for us to want to be on your product, because we're doing a little test right now. It's interesting because we're doing
this is what I find the most fascinating, because we can get into the other things we have seen on the barf diet, but
it's kind of a test by, I don't know what
regression.
Regression, yeah. So we had Maggie on this raw food diet before you guys, and then she went on your diet and just thrived. And we had some of that old food still left over, so now she's going to be on that for about another week or so. Then we're going to go back onto yours and stay on yours for good. And it's interesting noticing going through regression.
It's only been a few weeks that she's been on the old packaged food that we had in there, just to kind of go through. And I'm not kidding. Like within 2 days of being done with the challenge and being back on the old raw diet, her bowels, her bowel movements are just horrible compared to what they were on the 90 days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we definitely see that trend changing.
Yep. Well, like I said, there's differences of every formulation. We've been working on this for 38 years, so, I don't think it's time to change anything. We know it works, and it works good.
Yep.
So.
And I think one of the things that you guys have in your product that I know is not in the raw food that we have been given, Maggie, is the fact that you guys have ground up bone in your product, right?
You have to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's essential.
That's the most natural source of calcium to the body. And it's very important, especially in young dogs, to get the calcium phosphorus ratios correct. Because if you inverse those ratios, you'll have skeletal issues to deal with.
Why did you say mostly it's important with young dogs?
Because that's the growing period. That's the formation of the bones and muscles and the ligaments. That's the time of the dog's growth period that's most important to give it that calcium phosphorus ratio.
Okay, that makes sense. So if you don't have the proper relationship between calcium and phosphorus later on in their life, then they can develop some hip and bone type issues?
And we have skeletal issues that result from that.
Wow.
Now, Robert, what was we've done this the whole, 90 days, and we're continuing to do it even on this next week diet for her, but with the salmon oil along with the probiotic we've been giving her, can you explain to people again why that is so important to add into the daily food?
I encourage people to do the 90-day challenge, and because of that, I want to give the assurance that this is going to work. And the best way to do that is to supercharge the food. You don't need to continue to do the supplementation in most cases. A lot of people elect to continue to do it, but you don't need it because what we've supplied in the diet is adequate. When I'm trying to correct some initial chronic problems as a reason that people come to us, if we add the omega oil, we're giving the boost to the immune system. We're improving the hair coat, the skin condition. By giving the probiotics, we increase the digestibility of the diet. And so all these factors work together to produce the very best combination. And when people see that, a lot of them just elect to keep doing that because they see the results of it.
Yes.
Hey, Robert, how important is it to have a diet that you feed your dog or cat, I guess, for that matter, but, primarily for dogs or, probably for people too, but that switches up? Because I know you have a lot of different flavors. You have the chicken, you have the lamb, I think, and then you have beef and other things. How important is it to switch up? Should you go through an entire bag at once and then go to another animal, or should you switch it up every couple days, do you think?
We believe in doing a variety of protein choices when the dog can tolerate it. A lot of times a dog can gain a food sensitivity to a protein source that's fed all the time. So we do encourage people to switch it around. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it at a certain pattern of time. Our number one product that we sell the most of is our variety pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we encourage people to buy the variety pack to give it alteration of different protein choices.
Yeah, that's the one we use. And what was in that? The lamb? Was it chicken, lamb, and beef?
Chicken, lamb, beef, and a combo diet. Where it was chicken, lamb, beef, and pork.
So in each one of those different protein choices, they have the bones of that animal in there as well.
That's correct.
So you're going to get even different types of phosphorus and calcium, I guess, wouldn't you, from the different bones?
We do. Our number one product on a straight choice is chicken, the chicken diet. So you get a little different bone content from chicken than you do from the harder bones from beef and lamb. So it's always good to give the variety.
Yeah, I have a question about that because I remember when we first switched Maggie over from what she was eating at that 5-month stage to the raw, and the man at the pet food store, he said, "Oh gosh, you don't want to switch up any kind of thing on your dog. If you have the beef, stick to the beef. If you have the chicken, stick to the chicken. Dog's digestion will just freak out on it." And I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, you never want to do that." Was that just talking to an ill-informed man, or do you think that most dogs, that is, if they're not eating the highest quality diet, that could be a very detrimental thing to their system?
Well, I can tell you that for 38 years I've always advocated feeding a variety of choices, and we don't see a problem in switching protein choices. The rest of our diet is put together as a standard procedure. So all we're doing is changing the protein source. So it's not a major change of the entire diet. It's just a change of the meat source.
I always thought that was a funny thing when he said that, because I thought, if dogs were in the wild, it's not like they'd be eating the same squirrel every day, or they'd be eating a lizard one day and a squirrel the next, and
snacking on all kinds of things.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
everybody's got their little different bits of advice as to how to feed a dog, and some people like to make it a real scientific study, and it's really not that scientific. If you observe the dogs in the wild, you'll realize it's not that scientific. What do they eat?
What's sad is that we're talking about feeding dogs really high quality raw food diet and even switching up the protein sources. What's so sad is I think about the dogs I used to have growing up as a kid, and we would feed them the same. I mean, not only was it poor quality food, but I think my dog only ate one food its entire life.
Oh.
It was just this kibble, and we just fed it the same thing every single day. That's, wow, it makes sense when you see the diseases that come from that,
Yeah, I'm going to share something that I've learned in this business.
Please.
And it isn't the fact that our food is so much better. The quality of food is better. But I mean, in general, it's not that our food is so much better. It's the fact that the dog isn't getting the bad stuff that's in the kibble diets.
Mm.
That's the difference. And when you stop giving the and I don't need to get into all the bad stuff that's in it because we can spend a whole day on that. But, the dog eliminating that because it's getting the same food and the same concentration, so that if he gets some of the bad ingredients and gets it every day, it's just like introducing a small poison to a person over a long period of time. It's going to do harm. Mm-hmm. So just feeding a better quality diet and getting the better digestibility of that diet and having more of it absorbed, more of the nutrients absorbed in the body, whether you're a dog or a human, it's all the same. If we as humans would eat good quality food and eat that continuously and eliminate the junk food, you can see the results very, very easily.
Yeah, it's the same. So,
same thing.
Yes.
Without getting too much into what is in conventional dog food and things like that, I have heard that when they pick up roadkill, they put that into the
Is that true?
grinder. Is that true, Robert? Have you heard about that?
Unfortunately, that is true.
Oh.
It is true because they feel that they can do that because of the high heat processing that's added to the food. So if we're talking about the bacterial content, then they're eliminating that with high degree of heat. But high application of heat does destroy a lot of things. In addition to the bacteria, the live enzymes, and that's key. I've written a book on the fundamental reasons why live enzymes are an advantage to feeding a raw food diet. You haven't taken them out of the food. You're letting the pancreas rest by not having to produce all the enzymes necessary to digest the food.
Mm-hmm.
So,
where might people buy your book or read about that if they're more interested, Robert?
It's on our website at barfworld.com.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting because the pancreas has to create all the enzymes, and they've done autopsies where they've looked at people and their pancreases are swelled, 2-3 times the size that it was earlier on in life, and they think that it has to do with the production of all these enzymes. I know the pancreas does produce enzymes, but Robert, is that the main job of the pancreas, or is it just doing that because it has to?
That's the main job.
Wow, and it makes sense. It swells so much, doesn't it?
And the thing with the pancreas is it only produces a certain number of enzymes in the life of the animal. So if we can introduce in the food the enzymes and save the enzyme and save the pancreas from having to produce the enzymes, or as many of them, that just adds longevity. This is one of the reasons that I think people on a raw food diet get an extension of life for their dog.
Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff. We're with Robert Mueller from barfworld.com. If you want to go to his website through our link, we would appreciate that. We'd get a little commission and help support all of us for doing the work that we do. That's extremehealthradio.com/barf, BARF, which stands for Biologically Appropriate Raw Food Diet, I think. So BARF, if you'd like to check that out. This is episode 277. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back right after this. If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, and even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now just take one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed of 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. And if you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity, is safe for you and your family, and it helps protect against radiation exposure. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at extremehealthradio.com/bioage or call 877-288-9116. Get 10% off your order using coupon code JUSTIN at extremehealthradio.com/bioage. BioAge, the age of advanced organics. I wanted to tell you about this really powerful and unique product called the Q Laser. Did you know there's over 2,500 peer-reviewed clinical research studies showing the benefits of low-level laser therapy on the body? We had Dr. Larry Lytle on episode 165 talking all about it. Dr. Lytle, what is the Q Laser?
The Q Laser is a light-delivering device, handheld, rechargeable, that is for lay people and professionals, that works at the cell level of the body to restore energy. Since the body is all composed of cells and the cells are composed of atoms, it's good for any and everything in the body. It is especially beneficial for injuries. It will reduce swelling and inflammation before your eyes. Literally, you can have a sprained ankle and fly the laser, and within 30 minutes you can see that the swelling in the ankle has been reduced. Since all disease is inflammatory, you can assume that same process is working if you have some type of intestinal problem. We have pictures of using a heat instrument to diagnose the intestinal inflammation. We can show that intestinal inflammation is pretty much gone within 3 minutes using the Q1000 laser. It's the number one tool in your medicine cabinet. I have a saying, never leave home without your laser. I have had 3 serious burns, and each time I had my laser with me, I applied the laser immediately after I had the burn. I never even blistered.
Kate and I don't want to be without ours. We've worked out a special deal with Dr. Lytle for all of our listeners. If you'd like to learn more about how the Q Laser can dramatically improve your health, go to extremehealthradio.com/laser.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
All right, we're having a great time here with Robert Mueller of barfworld.com. He's the author of the book Living Enzymes, the world's best kept pet food secret. And this is episode 277, so we'll bring him back in just a moment. I just want to let everybody know that if you guys are interested in that laser or the BioAge, please let me know. I'd love to help you out. And we broadcast live 4 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific if you'd like to join the live chat room and be involved with the guests and with us. And Kate, you wanted to bring up something about Maggie and her energy levels, and I did too, actually, because they seem to be actually going through the roof when she was on that diet. It was
Robert, that dog, for a 10-pound dog, she was pulling us through the neighborhood like a nonstop nutball. I've never seen. She's always crazy, but it elevated crazy. It was nuts.
And you saw a significant difference between ours and the other raw food diet. That's interesting.
Well, Robert, this was what was so interesting is a lot of times it would get very hot here, obviously, in the summer during the midday. And we usually walk her 3 times a day. And what happens is that in the middle of the day, when we take her on her midday walk, it's the hottest, and she always peters out. And she always gets tired, or she used to. And then when I started feeding her your dog food, within a couple days, I would walk her on a 2 or 3 mile walk, and she would be pulling me the entire way, which is, she had never done that before.
In the heat.
Yeah, in the heat.
Well, we know that works because I have a series of hunting dogs that come to me every fall, and they want to put the dog, at least for the time that they're working the dogs really hard, they want to put them on the raw diet, and they get a lot of more energy expended through the dog by putting them on the raw diet. Oh, so I know it works.
Yeah, it's amazing because, like I said before, she was already on a raw food diet, but she would just be 10 feet behind us on the leash with her tongue hanging down to the ground, just dragging and unable to walk with her little short legs. And then now on this diet, she just is pulling the entire way.
Starting fights with other dogs.
She's starting fights with other dogs. It's crazy.
She's just crazy.
Well, she's got to exert that energy some way.
That's hilarious.
Well, part of me was wondering, too, as far as her energy level and the fact that she could go so much farther and better on those hot midday walks. Obviously, the raw food barf diet is going to be way more hydrating. I'm sure they're getting a lot more water and things like that to keep them going longer than the dry food that people feed dogs, right?
Mm.
That's a tip that most people don't know about. When they feed a kibble diet that's between 10 and 20% moisture level, compared to the raw diet, which is 70% moisture. You're getting the hydration from the diet rather than external, which the water from an external source does not absorb as well as from the diet itself. So it's amazing. People, when they see the biggest switch, they see their dog doesn't drink water anymore, or not as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why. Because I think that people that feed their dogs a dry kibble are constantly putting their dog through a dehydration level that's not safe. That's a personal opinion.
That's interesting. Now, Robert, do we know, are there organ meats in the barf diet?
Yes, there are.
There are. See, I think in the other raw food diet, it didn't contain any organ meats either.
It didn't, no.
Yeah, because it would list everything. Wow, what kinds of organ meats are in the barf diet?
Hearts, liver, kidney, tripe, which is the cow stomach.
Oh.
Those are the primary 4 organ meats that we use.
Wow. So that's really important, isn't it, for dogs to get that kind of meat, isn't it?
It's a tremendous source of fatty acids.
Yeah, I would imagine because, most of the time, even with humans, when we eat meat, it's always just the muscle meat. But we're, it makes more sense that we would actually eat the organs of whatever animals we're eating as well.
There's another thing that when we put our formulas together that's a difference between others, is the amount of vegetation that we put in, the fruits and vegetables. The higher level of fruits and vegetables you put in the diet, the more problems you'll have keeping weight on a dog.
Oh.
And so we see that as a comparative difference with other raw food diets as well.
Wait, what do you mean? You guys put more or less than
we put less.
put less. So other companies are putting, what kinds of things are other companies putting in?
For fruits and vegetables. If their content, a lot of them have like a 30% volume content of fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
Well, then it's harder to hold the weight on the animal. They need to feed more. We see a definite consumption difference between the diets that have the higher levels of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, because the other raw diet we had her on definitely had carrots. It had some sort of zucchinis and things in there, and there was occasional, dried raw treats we'd give her that had cranberries or blueberry. I mean, it had all this added stuff in there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, there's value to having them in the diet, but it's important to have it in the right concentration.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that a dog would eat that much. 30%, that's quite a bit. It doesn't seem like it would make a lot of sense for a dog to eat 30% of its diet in the wild, some sort of fruit or vegetable, would it?
Right. The only fruit and vegetable content basically they get is from the digestive content in the gut.
Yeah, so if they kill an animal, they would get that, right?
Right.
Robert, have you ever heard of anyone, I mean, this is a horrible question, but have you ever heard of anyone trying to have their dog on a strict vegetarian diet? And would they die right away, or what would happen to a dog?
It's possible.
Really?
There are cases and studies showing a vegetable diet will work.
Really?
I mean, it's not, like I said, I relate it to human nutrition, and it's not much different.
Wow.
Humans function very fine on a vegetation type diet. It's the type of food, the quality of the food that's important.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, it's the quality of the food, but then it's also what you're not getting. If you're a vegetarian as a human, you're not eating hopefully McDonald's or these types of chemicals and candy that has a lot of chemicals in it. So it's what you're not getting as well, right?
That's my whole point. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow,
that makes sense.
That's crazy. That still doesn't seem. It's amazing how adaptive mammals are. Because for a dog, a dog does not seem like it would thrive on a vegetation type diet. But you said this.
Well, you think about it. We've over the last 100 years, we've convinced a true carnivore type animal to exist as an omnivore. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I don't think it's created the best of health for that animal. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to make some changes so that we can convince people as to giving their dog a better way to feed them.
So, go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, I was thinking, Robert, for us, when we were, calculating out, the cost of keeping her on the barf diet versus this other raw diet we had her on, it was pretty similar. And maybe just a little bit higher because of, I'm sure your high quality in the bone in there, and it's worth it to us. Yep. So for most people, are they kind of shocked at the price tag, or are people just really willing, I would hope, to do that for their fur babies?
I think as the whole industry is such with new competitors, et cetera, that's hit the market, I think we're all priced about the same.
Yeah.
And compared to a good quality kibble, it's not that much more. Definitely not on like Maggie, her size dog, it's not a real major consideration.
Right.
If you get a 100-pound dog, and you get several of those that you have to feed, then it becomes a major challenge.
Yeah,
sure.
It's like feeding another kid, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I advise those people to do is at least to split feed it.
Uh-huh.
And by split feeding and feeding it at different times, we don't advocate feeding the meat diet with the dry diet. Uh-huh. But by splitting feeding it, at least you're doing 50% better than not doing it at all.
Oh, that's really good for people to hear, actually.
So feeding it once in the morning, maybe once in the evening or something like that.
Yep, but don't feed it both at the same time because it's two different digestion cycles. The raw food goes from mouth to tail, and about half the time that the dry food does. Takes longer to digest the dry food.
Do you think there's any value or any merit to feeding your dogs at different times? Like we feed our dog in the morning, and then usually around 6 o'clock at night we feed her, for her evening meal. Do you think it's valuable to switch that up a little bit because it would be more natural, like in the wild they would find food at different times?
I advocate feeding twice a day.
Uh-huh.
feedings. And sometimes if we're getting into digestion issues, I advocate feeding 3 to 4 times a day, just to have less going into the GI tract at any one feeding. So,
wow.
It's very, very important to give the dog what he can eat without disrupting the volume going into the GI tract.
You know, it's really interesting with your products, which I really like, are the fact that it has you have the supplemental probiotics there, and you're going to get some of the good bacteria anyway within your raw meat. But when Maggie will go search, go try to catch a lizard or a squirrel or something like that, these things people might be afraid to have their dogs eat because of the bacteria or what's going to happen if their dog eats and catches something like this. But with your diet, I feel very confident in Maggie's digestive health and her gut bacteria and her flora, that if she were to lick something or eat something that she's not supposed to, she would have the beneficial flora and the beneficial bacteria in her gut to
kind of combat it,
to deal with that. Yeah.
You see, that's what we get into when we try to sterilize the systems. No different than trying to have us go to Mexico and put up with the different bacteria flora that they have. You need good bacteria in the system to have it to function biologically. And by taking that all out of the system, I think it's just kind of what's happened to the milk industry, where pasteurization of all the milk has taken the good nutrients out of a lot of the bacteria problems out of the milk content. And I think the same thing's going to happen with dog food as the new FDA rules are making 0 tolerance levels for salmonella.
Wow, what's going on with the FDA in salmonella?
They're mandating 0 tolerance levels for salmonella in dog food. Basically, in a nutshell, they're saying that dog food is now has to be safer than human food regarding salmonella content.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, that just is so crazy, because you're never going to be able to get rid of all of that, can you?
It's like telling you to go outside and not be exposed to your pollen.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Wow. So how are there ways around that, or how's that looking for the future of?
Well, there's a couple ways around it. Heating the diet like they do with kibble and destroying the nutrition that way. There's a process called high-pressure pasteurization, which uses high-pressure water content to destroy cell bacteria. You can use irradiation, which scares most people.
Yeah.
There's ways to accomplish that, but I guess it depends on how stringent the regulation becomes for FDA trying to control that.
Wow. So is that happening now, or has it already been passed?
As we speak.
As we speak.
Wow.
You know, it's wild with stuff like that. It's it makes me think about if we just focused our entire program on health, even for humans and for animals, we focused on health instead of trying to kill every little bad bacteria, and we focused on introducing the good bacteria and replenishing the good bacteria, we would never have to worry about this kind of stuff.
I have a very easy solution, and that's to concentrate your efforts on building the immune system of any animal or human, and you've got the best working policeman in the body.
I know, right? I mean, if you just focus on us and our own health, we should be able to withstand all this stuff, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Is there bacteria? There is probably going to be bacteria within the actual food itself too, right? And not just the supplemental stuff that you have.
Can't get away from it.
Okay, so they're still getting beneficial bacteria. Do we know from animals, because I think, did Maggie she had one antibiotic at one point, didn't she?
She did, yeah, unfortunately, when we first got her.
Is it like humans, Robert, where if a dog gets one round of antibiotics, are some of those bacteria, do you know, are they killed forever?
The antibiotics have a function. The best function that they provide is short-term protection. But like steroids, antibiotics, long-term are going to create damage to the immune system, which is going to be a downhill struggle then for inflammation in the body. So it's crucial that the immune system is kept to maximum. That again is why we do advocate that omega oil as part of our 90-day treatment. That's so key to making this 90-day program work. But antibiotics are doing the same thing as pasteurization's doing to milk. Long term, it's just not that good for the body.
Not that good, I know.
When we get back from the break, Robert, I want to ask you a question about the omega oil as well, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, we got a question about that. Very good. This is episode 277 with Robert Mueller from barfworld.com. If you'd like to visit his website, you can go to barfworld.com, or if you would like to support us, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/barf, BARF. And we're going to be right back with Robert right after this break. So this morning when I was making my green smoothie, I was finishing up going through the Healthy Baby Code program by Chris Kresser, because my wife and I, Kate, are planning on having a child. And so we're doing a lot of detoxification and cleansing prior to conception. And this Healthy Baby Code, I was going through the final Q&A course or questionnaire that he had in audio format. And it's really, really good course. If you're looking to get pregnant or want to get pregnant, or if you're struggling with infertility issues, or if you have questions about how to have a home birth or a natural birth, these are all things that Chris Kresser covers in this Healthy Baby Code course. And you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/babycode, or you could check it out in our store for more information. But it's really, really a great program, and I highly suggest any expecting mother to get this. He really lays it out how important having a healthy pregnancy is. It comes with 5.5 hours of video. It comes in audio as well. There's hundreds of pages of resources materials. There's ebooks and bonus files, and then meal plans and cheat sheets. So you can just basically follow along and take the right supplements and eat the right foods and avoid certain foods that he suggests. And it covers everything from autism to vaccinations to childhood diseases, how long to breastfeed, natural birthing principles, and all kinds of good stuff. And I really wish everyone would get a course like this before they get pregnant, because it's really, really cutting edge, and I feel like it's really going to help Kate and I have a healthier baby. So if you're interested in this, you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/babycode, or you could check it out in our store. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's get back to this show. So recently we had a really, really great doctor and author on our show, Dr. Doris Rapp, and she was on episode number 56. And she talked about these really great Austin air purifiers and the necessity of having clean air in your house. And she was talking about how inside of our houses, the air is very, very toxic, and it's more toxic than even outside. And the reason is because there's chemicals that are off-gassing from our paints that are in our house, our chemicals, and our carpets, and the dust and the pollen and the mold and everything else that's inside the air of our house. And we don't get good ventilation. And so having some of these air purifiers are really, really critical. And I spoke with her at length off the air about why she likes these Austin air purifiers and why she promotes them. And it turns out that not only do they get rid of the pollens and the allergens and the dust and the particles and everything that's floating around in your air like most purifiers do, which is great, but they also get rid of, I think, 3,000 different chemicals that are inside. They're just floating around your house. And you know, these things end up in our lungs and in our bloodstream and all of that kind of stuff. And Doris Rapp has been researching this kind of information for many, many years. I think she's in her 80s now, so she really has a handle on which products are good and which products are not so good. And she recommends the Austin Air. And after talking with her, doing a ton of research on my own, and speaking with a company and looking into it from a lot of different angles, we agree with her. So if you're interested in a good quality air purifier, check it out. You can learn more at extremehealthradio.com/Austin, and you'll be redirected to a website that will sell these things. And they're really, really great machines, and I highly recommend them. If you have a baby, you want to have these things in their room or in the room where you sleep, or you can take them out and put them in your family room. So if you want to listen to that episode, extremehealthradio.com/56 to learn what she says about them, feel free, but we highly recommend them. So it's extremehealthradio.com/Austin, or you could check out our store and learn more about it on there as well. So thanks for listening, and let's get back to the show.
All free shows, all the time, on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
You had a little shake, a little shoulder shake, a little shimmy there.
I did?
A little shoulder dance.
Well,
you were getting into it.
I was?
Yeah.
I think that was me just adjusting my tank top.
Okay. Thought you might be doing a little dance, a little jig. No?
No dancing today.
Next time, next show.
Next time.
Show. That's hilarious. We're with Robert Mueller from barfworld.com, and this is episode 277, and we broadcast 4 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you guys would like to join us in the chat room and have some interaction with the guests and all of that, that would be a lot of fun to do that at 9 a.m. Got some great guests coming up tomorrow. Actually, on Wednesday, we have Billy Best, and he's going to be talking about his journey through cancer and being forced as a young child to get chemotherapy, radiation, and his story with what he did and to rebel against that. And then we're going to have Barbara Allen on Thursday. And then we're going to have our Free for All Friday show. And next week, we're going to have Jessica Ortner from the Tapping Solution. We're going to be talking about tapping and all that fun stuff. So it's going to be a good show. So make sure to stay up to date with all of our shows. You can do that by going to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe. Join our newsletter list, and you can stay up to date with all of our past shows, upcoming shows, all that good stuff.
And if you can time travel, you can catch the future shows.
You can catch the future
before
shows.
They're recorded.
That's right. Alternate reality. So, Kate, you wanted to say something too, right?
Yeah. I want to caution everybody not to be as silly as I was when I opened up the Barf World box, because I didn't read the top instruction about handling the dry ice. I was just picking that stuff up left and right. Do people do that? My hands looked really bad for about 20 minutes.
That's certainly one thing that I have cautioned our group on, is to putting a insert in there regarding the handling of the dry ice. Is that something you don't want to do?
Oh, it was there, and I just got so excited. I plowed right through it, took that paper off, and was handling that stuff. But I thought, that is something people need to be very aware of when they get their barf in the mail, because
it's a good point.
That wasn't a good thing.
Pass it on again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So as far as the omega oils in Maggie's diet, the one thing that we did realize when we first added those in, for about the first 2 to 3 days, her stool was a little runny, and then she totally recovered and thrived on it. Is that something people see when they add that in first? Do people talk about that?
No, it's not one that we're pointed out very often.
Okay.
No, I don't see that as every digestive system is just a little bit different.
Sure.
Sometimes it takes a little bit to regulate the system from one to another.
Interesting. Yeah, with Maggie, as soon as she got normalized on the barf diet, it was interesting because her digestion before and her stools, she would have a hard time going to the bathroom. It would take a long time, and she'd be sitting there all scrunched up the way she is. And sometimes even she wouldn't even be able to get all of the poop out of her butt when she was doing a poop on her walk.
She would need some help.
And that was not fun. But since being on your diet, she just goes so quick, and it's full, and it's done. And
by itself. It's just she moves on from it. You can pick it up really easy.
It's incredible difference.
The thing you have to realize is that because the digestion is so complete, all that's left in the stool is ash and fiber. And so it's a chalky consistency. In fact, we used to feed the Milwaukee Zoo and their wolf collection, and they never even cleaned the pen because it was, all that was left was just a very ash and fiber content that dissipated in the weather. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people appreciate that, especially the ones that have big dogs, 100-pound dogs. They don't have such a cleanup in the backyard anymore.
Yeah, I bet. True. Yeah, big animals. Ooh.
And another thing we've noticed too is compared to last year at this time, it seems that she gets a lot more fleas during the summer months. And last year at this time in the summer, she was
a flea bag
with fleas. Yeah, It's just all over. And this year, quite a lot less. I don't know if that has to do with just the environment or if it's the food or what.
As you keep her on the food, you'll notice that fleas are no longer a problem.
Really?
Really? Why is that?
Yep. One of the ingredients that we have in the diet.
Huh.
Really? So there's something in there that actually causes the fleas to not want to be there or to die off, or what's going on?
Garlic.
Garlic.
Really? They don't like that, huh?
Nope.
So that's anti-parasite. That would make sense. That'd be anti anything that wants to leech off you or live off you.
That's right, because that's basically what a flea is. Yeah, we give her a little bit of garlic every now and then, but I guess we don't have to now. I didn't realize.
No, there's a reason for every ingredient in our diet.
Wow.
That's interesting. Because last year we were having to spray that natural cedar
oil on her.
Cedar oil and all that. But this year there's maybe 1 or 2 fleas every now and then, but that's about it.
It's wild.
Yep. It'll go down.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing. So what other types of products do you have? I noticed you have a lot of different things. Like we tried the salmon oil and then the probiotic powder, as well as the not the value pack. What is it called?
The variety.
The variety pack.
Combo.
And what other products do you have?
We have some products that we don't make, but we promote. We have a couple of treat lines. One's Etta Says treat line. Those are all freeze-dried liver treats. We have another product that's made from elk bone, which is quite interesting. They're extremely hard bone. The pets, it takes a long time for them to go through it, and they're a lot more nutritious than regular bones.
Wow.
That's a good line. As we come up with products that we think are going to be beneficial for the dog and be advantageous, we like to, introduce them to our line of products.
Yeah, those you guys were so gracious in sending us a bag of the Etta Says, and those were amazing. She just gobbled those up, and I've seen those around in the stores, and I wondered about them, and they seem to be a really high quality. Obviously, if you guys promote them, they're probably the best.
It's not a junk treat. It's got it's freeze dried, and it's just a liver treat. That's all it is.
So you don't recommend feeding a dog, giving them one of those freeze-dried treats along with their meal, do you?
We're talking two different things. We're talking a treat and as compared to a meal.
Okay.
Treats are treats.
I see. Yeah. Sometimes when Maggie, we feel like she's been extra special. She's done something extra nice. Sometimes we give her one of those during her meal, but we probably should separate the frozen freeze-dried treats from
the raw.
Yeah. I guess that would probably be better, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably. It makes most sense to do it as a generosity factor, training aid.
Yeah. I see in some of your products. There was one in the beef. There was something that said that in the juicy beef recipe that said it's particularly beneficial for the Greyhound breed. I thought that was pretty interesting. So I'm assuming that different breeds of dogs, I guess much like in humans, would sort of thrive on different types of material, wouldn't they?
I used to be in the Greyhound business in my previous life for a long time, about 15 years. Wow. And it's quite interesting how they feed Greyhounds. It's a whole nother topic for another radio session.
Wow.
And they're the very, very big dogs, right?
Well, they're not extremely big. They're like 40 to 50 pound dogs.
Oh, I'm thinking of what
Great Danes. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, because they're a lot of times gray. Okay.
These are racing greyhounds, and they're built for getting the maximum amount of energy release out of that animal in a short period of time.
Wow.
So they try to put all these different potions together to get the most energy levels out of the dogs. It's an interesting study.
Yeah, I imagine.
Those are powerful dogs.
Is there a balance with the protein and the fat that you guys have in the? Because I know you also have, like I see here, there's a little bit of celery and spinach and things like that. But in terms of the protein and fat balance, is there a perfect balance?
Important.
That's very important, isn't it?
Yep, very important. And again, we don't have enough time to get into the protein levels, because there's some definite confusion in regards to the percentage of protein in wet food to dry food, because you have to balance it on a dry matter basis. But the fat level is very important because the maximum energy release comes from the fat.
Was it you? Did I hear you one time say that a dog can eat a cat's diet, but a cat can't eat a dog's diet, or vice versa? Was it you who said that?
Yep, that was me.
Yeah. So what is? Did I get that backwards? Probably did.
Like most things.
A cat diet is mainly a different diet than a cat diet in that it's a cat is an ultimate carnivore, and as such needs a little higher concentration of protein.
I see.
Okay, but the biggest thing about feeding a dog is the reduction of carbohydrates. That's key.
That's key.
And that's the problem between feeding a dry kibble and a wet food. The carbohydrate level, just like for humans, it's the carbohydrate levels that makes 40% of dogs or 40% of humans obese.
I see. Yeah, that's why all these dogs are so big. Is this how much of a regular diet? If you're giving a dog regular diet, how much of it do you think is carbohydrates?
For dry food?
Yeah.
As much as 40%.
Oh, wow.
And if they were in the wild, they wouldn't even get anywhere near that, would they?
No. Compared to our food, which is less than 4%.
Less than 4%.
Wow.
Why are they doing? Is it just because it's so cheap, or do they want the dog sick, or what's going on here?
Well, it's the ingredient source. They're taking a grain-based ingredient and converting it to dollars.
And they just need somewhere to get rid of these grains and somehow to make a lot of money off them, don't they?
That's it. Yep.
That is so wild.
Like the roadkill.
Yeah, like the roadkill. I mean, you gotta. I mean, wow. I mean, my dog when I was growing up was seemingly did fine. That's the problem with all these diets is that if they're relatively healthy, they can seem like they're doing okay. But when he got to be about 10 or 11, he just got riddled with tumors and cancer, and
it was quick.
Probably, and he couldn't move, and he was getting overweight, and it's amazing.
Yep. These are the dogs we deal with every day.
If a dog has been eating a diet like that for a number of years, let's say over half their life, can you completely change their diet to a raw food diet, or do you have to go very slowly? What's the protocol there?
We gauge that on a one-by-one basis, determining at what level that we're dealing with, to what degree of the progression of the disease, whether it's cancer or whether it's diabetes or kidney problems. This is what we mostly deal with. A slow introduction is probably best, is the safest conversion technique that we use. But, most dogs that come to us, I would say at least 90% of the dogs can do an immediate conversion right away and not have a problem.
Wow, 90% you think?
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's higher than I thought.
Whenever we get somebody that complains that they've got a problem converting their dog, then we say we'll go back to doing a slow progression. And then, over a week or 10 days, and then it works just fine.
Do we have any studies or any information about doing this type of diet over a few generations of dogs? Have we noticed any difference with that?
Well, like I said, I've been doing it for 38 years and documenting the results that the changes that we see in dogs. I don't think there's been any scientific studies that, at least to my knowledge, but somebody needs to do it, that's for sure.
Yeah. We need another Weston A. Price for the dogs, don't we?
Yep, sure do.
That would be.
There was a study done on cats a long time ago called the Pottinger study. And that's quite interesting. If you go online and look up the Pottinger study, you'll see that was done a long time ago on cats.
What is that?
Amazing results.
Yeah, what was primarily that study about?
The relationship of meat and dental problems with cats.
Oh, wow.
The Pottinger study.
Wow.
I'm going to look that up.
How important do you think it is for dogs to have bones to chew on? I know we touched on this a little bit on our last show, and in your food you have ground up bone in there. But for a dog to gnaw on something, do you think that's important?
Oh, yeah. Especially during the growth period, the development of the jaw is very important. It helps to clean teeth. Recreational bones, we definitely advocate that. I take the safe route, and we grind the bones to a small size just to eliminate any bowel obstruction problems and perforation problems that you might get from a shard from a bone. A lot of people will feed a cooked bone, and that's a no-no. That's rule number 1. Do not feed cooked bones. But a raw bone, it doesn't splinter, so there's not the same danger.
Huh.
When we were over in Texas a few months ago, we were staying with Dr. Massey and his lady, and they were showing us some of the different GAPS diet protocols, recipes that they're doing. And one of them was doing all this bone broth and things like that to help heal the gut.
In humans, obviously.
In humans, yeah. Do you think it would be something like a bone broth would be helpful for a dog?
Well, there's a lot of nutrition from the bone marrow that is obvious can be a benefit,
Yeah, it seems
people don't realize the health benefits from feeding bones. It's got the bone, and this is interesting because it ties into what we said earlier, where you have to have the right ratio of calcium to phosphorus. A chicken bone, for instance, has the exact ratio necessary for proper health. And, if you inverse that, just by feeding straight meat, for instance, without bone, now you've got more phosphorus than calcium. And now you've inversed it, and now you could have skeletal issues.
Oh, right.
They used to call those Alpo dogs because Alpo made that mistake many, many years ago.
Oh, wow. You know what I think about too with the dog food and being in the cans. I wonder what's going on with the cans leaching any kind of heavy metals into the food of just conventional dog food.
Yep, there's concerns about that, no question about it.
Yeah, because not only are the dogs going to have the toxins within because they're taking sick animals too. They're taking all these sick animals that die from cancer, and they're probably just grinding them all up and putting them into some sort of meal, and then you put that into a can that sits out in the sun. It's just a cocktail, isn't it?
You're getting it in the dry food also.
What is the dry food? I mean, is that you said that's about 40% carbohydrates? What else is in the dry food? The kibble.
Well, it's the grain and whatever other sources of nutrition is from the grain, but the level of carbohydrate is the damaging level, because that's what the animal doesn't need. Animal doesn't need carbohydrates.
Wow, yeah.
Certainly not at that level.
Yeah, because you said
add to that the other dangerous things that are added to it. Like I said, we could do a whole radio show in regards to what's in dry dog food that's not proper for a dog. But think about all the pesticides and herbicides and fat sprays, different harmful chemicals, preservatives. You just keep adding it all up. There's not much reason that I have for feeding a dog a dry kibble food.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm not a kibble advocate.
And they call that food.
Yeah, they call it food. I mean, it's a lot like humans. I mean, we weren't meant to eat these absorbently high carbohydrate diets with all these breads and processed foods. I mean, it's the same thing. Robert, on your commercial that you did for us, you mentioned the fact that you said, garbage in, garbage out. And that's, a lot of what goes on. People, cancer, disease, all these things, are going to be a result of this type of diet,
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's just amazing because you see these dogs. I mean, just so sad. So sad.
You know what's sad? I'll tell you. You look at a dog, and it's an obese dog, but some people have come to the conclusion that that's the way the dog is supposed to look like.
Oh, right.
Okay?
Right.
He's supposed to look like that.
Yeah. It's supposed to be obese.
Not supposed to be lean and trim. He's supposed to be fat and dumpy.
Oh, well, we see that especially with our little Maggie dachshund breed. We have a couple on the street that are they look like pigs. They don't even look like a dog. And here's our little Maggie with her little shape that she's supposed to have with her barreled chest and her skinnier pelvis. And it's just, I can't imagine that dog up the street ever looking like Maggie did. And it can barely walk. It's just so sad. And yet people, think it's cute to see a fat weenie dog on the street. It's just wrong. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny what people think is regular, or they think is funny, or they think is cute, and it's just
it's
you think about
good.
the dog, and they're the ones suffering. So,
well, it's a thing too. I mean, if you think about all the vet bills and the cost of not feeding your dog well, it's just the same as us. Is eventually, at some point, we will pay, right, Robert? I mean, at some point, that's going to happen.
Pay me now or pay me later.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, the vet fees for getting things fixed on your dog, or surgeries, or God knows what else they do, can all be avoided, by feeding your dog a healthy diet that's designed for them and for what they should be consuming. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Robert, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been awesome, and we're so excited to put Maggie back on your diet, because she's had a little hiatus for about a week and a half now, so we're excited to get her back.
Well, I'm excited to hear the results of the test.
So good.
It keeps me going.
This was great, Robert. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for all that you do, and your business and your company, and providing food like this is just so awesome.
Pleasure. My pleasure. If you care to do it again, I'm more than happy to participate.
Thanks, Robert. Hold the line right there. We're going to close out our live show. We're with Robert Mueller from barfworld.com. And if you'd like to go to his website and check out his stuff, you can go to barfworld.com. And if you guys would like to support us, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/barf, and you can support our work by going through that link and
taking the best care of your dog. Start treating everyone's dog like a family member instead of a dog, right?
That's right.
That's what they are.
Episode 277, and we broadcast live 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we thank you guys all for being in the chat room, and thanks for being a part of everything we have going on. We really appreciate this so much, and we will catch you on the next episode. Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate this.
And we'll be more careful with the dry ice next time.
Yes.
Thanks for the tip. I appreciate that.
Sure. Thanks for putting the warning in there. I'll pay attention to it next time.
Okay.
Thanks,
Have
Robert.
a good day, guys.
You too.
Thanks, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it, Mr. Robert Mueller from barfworld.com.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he's so
I just
cool.
love him. He's so great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I love what he's all about,
I do too. I love what he stands for. I love what he believes in. When you're talking about your dogs growing up, I was never blessed enough to be able to have a dog when I was a child.
You got hosed.
And don't I sound okay with it? Still upset about it.
Childhood trauma right there.
Oh, man.
You might have to go past life on that one.
I need to tap that out. Good thing Jessica Ordner is going to be on. I'm going to ask her about my childhood traumas.
Not having a dog growing up?
Oh, gosh, that really affected me. But, when you're talking about your dogs and stuff, it's like, gosh, most people, I'd say probably most in my younger life would just say, oh, it's a dog, it sleeps outside, it eats like a dog, it is a dog, don't treat it like a family member. But the more people I've come across in my adult years really treat their dog like they call them their fur babies and treat them like a furry family member. And it's like having Maggie now, I can't imagine not treating her like a family member. I mean, she really is part of our joy. So why would you not treat anything in your life that valuable the best that you possibly could give it? It just doesn't make any sense to me how people just throw this garbage food. But it kind of does, because unfortunately they do that to themselves, and that's how they do life, and they don't see the value in taking care of their body, let alone their poor animals, or their children. Or
yeah, I mean, if they don't have the desire to do it for themselves, I mean, what makes you think they would want to do that for a dog?
It's really sad.
It's sad.
It is sad.
It's really a bummer, because you see what dogs can bring to your life, and they're proven to reduce stress levels and to increase endorphins and to increase longevity and even reduce times where you're sick.
Exactly.
Reduce the amount of the duration with which you have a flu or something like that. And they're just incredible creatures, and for us to just feed them garbage, like the funny thing is if you're awake enough to feed yourself well, you think that those are the type of people that would also be interested in feeding their dog well.
You would.
I'm pretty sure of that. It's having that understanding of what the food is doing.
Yes. How bodies are processing foods, what we're using, what we're throwing away, what we're getting too much of, what's taxing different organs.
Yeah.
The more you learn about any body, whether it be a dog body or a human body, you start to see that, man, these, I used to really to see my life, in my brain, I would think of my body as just this mystery. I would throw something down it and think, oh, well, it'll know what to do with that. I mean, In-N-Out burgers or McDonald's, whatever you're eating, it's fuel. It's, going to fuel you for your next thing you have going on.
Yeah.
Your stomach knows what to do with it. Your pancreas clearly knows what to do. It's like you don't think about what actually is happening to those organs until you start to care.
Until you have problems too.
Until you have problems, or you just start to become interested in it. Like, I used to just dump stuff down there going, it's a body. Like, it'll figure it out. It's like, I couldn't have been any more wrong. And, the thing is that dogs don't get a choice. Like, humans have the rational brain to be able to care and
at least we have
think
a choice,
about these things. But, I mean, our dogs and our animals are looking to us for their proper care. And it's like, basically their health is in our hands. You know?
We just feed them the worst food possible. And we wonder why we have to keep going to the vet or why we have to keep dealing with some sort of health condition they have, all this goop in their eyes or their wax in their ear, or if they get susceptible to getting sick or colds or, cancerous tumors. All these things could be alleviated by feeding your dog a diet that's healthy. And like you said during the show, it's not that much more.
Right.
I mean, maybe if you were to look at the barf diet, and maybe it's a little bit more than the other raw food diet. And maybe the raw food diet that we were feeding her, that she's still on now for another week or so, maybe that diet is a little bit more than just a conventional Alpo and kibble and things like that.
I would say it is, absolutely.
But, I mean, like we've talked about at the end of the show, it's the same with our own health. We either pay now, we're going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
The balance has to be leveled out and evened out.
Yeah.
We have to pay. And so the question is, when are we going to pay? And for me, it's easier to pay as you go. It's easier to pay little bits here and there, a little bit more, rather than paying $10,000 for some surgery because your dog has all these tumors.
I completely, I'm with you. I agree. I think that it's easier to do it that way. I mean, we've taken these little steps in our own health that have kept us, I believe, from big giant expenses or learning the hard way. And we're doing the same with Maggie. I mean, when we first got her, within the first 6 months, even though we had changed over to the raw diet, she had been to the vet probably 4 or 5 times, and now it's like she's hardly once a year.
Yeah, I know, right?
And they're usually for strange things, like she hurt herself somehow. It wasn't like, an organ malfunction or she's sick or... she usually tweaks her back or, gets a cattail stuck in her ear, or, just being a dog.
Yeah. And
I'm so grateful, for the care. But as far as she's thriving on this barf diet. She's thriving.
Yeah, like I mentioned during the show, the energy she had, because what I would do is I'd walk her down to the beach, and then I'd walk probably, it would probably be that whole big loop I would do. That would be a couple, maybe 3 miles or so.
Absolutely. For her little dog legs.
And she's got little 2-inch legs, I know. Barely. But she just pulls and pulls and pulls, and she never used to do that, which is crazy. The amount of energy. And like we're saying, too, on the show, that when she goes to the bathroom, it's quick, it's done, it's full, you just go. And she had such a problem before. Remember that? You have to pull stuff out of her.
That was... Not only was it gross and embarrassing, she would scream.
Oh, yeah. She would not want you to let you near her tail.
Yeah, she'd put her tail underneath her butt and not let you near her. And you'd say, Maggie, you have to... The best part was if she wouldn't let you help her, she just stood there and looked at you and wouldn't move.
She wouldn't walk. Because she's like, something's wrong down there. Yeah, you're like, something's got to give.
I'm not finished.
Something has to give. Either, because we're not going to stand here all day.
The worst was trying to explain that to people who came to watch Maggie. Like, if she stands there and looks at you, you need to probably help pull the poop out of her.
Oh my gosh.
So gross.
Yeah, that's been a big difference, as well as the fleas too, and the
fleas have been
earwax.
a huge thing. The earwax.
And I'm surprised. Actually, I'm actually surprised at how many differences there are, because she was on a pretty good diet before.
Yeah.
But I think, like with the calcium phosphorus ratios, the fact that they're getting organ meats and garlic in their diet, and the bones, along with the muscle meats and the different varieties in the barf diet, I think is, I'm surprised.
Yeah, me too.
Because I thought she had a pretty good diet, but apparently, raw food can be improved upon, and I think they're doing a really good job.
I was going to say there's good, and then there's probably even better. There's great,
Yeah. So if you guys are wanting to get some of this dog food for your dog, and you're interested in this, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/barf, B as in boy, ARF as in Frank. It stands for biologically appropriate raw food diet. or raw food, BARF. And so if you go there and make a purchase, that will help support our show. And I also want to let you guys know, too, about our sponsor for this show, which is BioAge. We ran an ad for them during the show. It's just a great, great, great product from Roland Thomas, and he was on episode 274 if you're interested. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/bioage, BIOAGE, you can check out those products there. Incredible information that Roland Thomas gave on episode 274. So you may want to check that out and learn about how those things are prepared, the bioreactors that contain no oxygen. And
bioreactors.
Crazy, right?
Sounds like those things in a power plant, right?
I know, right?
Bioreactors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, incredible product.
Yep.
So we're excited. We're going to have Billy Best on, Barbara Allen. What are we going to talk with Barbara Allen about?
Oh, Barbara Allen's amazing.
What did she had? Oh, it was with conqueringarthritis.com. I think this time she wanted to talk a little bit about mind-body techniques, didn't she?
Oh, yeah, and meditation.
Yeah.
Techniques.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, that's going to be great.
That'll be episode 279 as soon as it's available, conqueringarthritis.com. Yeah, she had, I forget what kind of arthritis she had, but she overcame it. And she used to be a martial artist.
Yeah. Did she have a black belt?
Yeah.
I mean, she's intense. Wow. She's awesome.
See her on UFC 176, maybe. She'll be in the red corner.
I think she could take me out.
And then we're going to have Jessica Ortner on. That'll be fun.
Oh, right on.
We'll be talking about the tapping solution in her new book, right? Tapping for Weight Loss.
And I have it. I'm starting
cool.
it this week.
Good stuff.
I hope I can make my way through a bunch of that before we have her on the show, because I love Jessica. I think she's great.
Yeah, good stuff, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, there you have it. There's a wrap. Thank you guys all for being on the show today. This was episode 277. And we hope you guys all enjoyed the show. And if you know anyone who has dog problems or dog issues, with their health, please pass the show on to them. That would be very, very great way to pass on some good information on to them, as well as help support us and help support Robert. And you may want to share it on Facebook as well, if you're interested in passing this on to your Facebook friends or anything like that. And also, we are 100% listener supported. So if none of these products sound interesting to you at all, we also take donations too. So if you're interested in sending us a small donation, we'd greatly appreciate that. extremehealthradio.com/donate. And then also we have our store where we have our Bellicons and our saunas and all that good stuff.
It's like being a kid in a candy store in that store.
It's like Chuck E. Cheese online.
It is like Chuck E. Cheese online.
So we want to thank all you guys for joining us. We really appreciate this so, so much. And if there's ever anything else that we could do for you, please let us know. And I think that's about it, right?
I think it's time to get our barf dog another walk one of these.
That's right.
Any minute.
We'll walk her right now.
I was going to say one of these days, but I think I need to get my blood sugar up with a smoothie or something. I'm not making any sense.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you
on the next episode. I overtook you.
That was good.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, everybody. This is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
Oh, so good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action